So sometimes when you're a teacher, you gotta go grab butter and drop it off at home. But I'm gonna talk a little bit about how I became a teacher and what it's like to be an artist and a teacher, and whether you can make money doing both. So my first job I ever had that I made money was a little flash animation for the beginning of their web page. So I made that flash animation and gave it to them. I think it was a .swf file, which I don't even know if they use those anymore. And then the guy that I made that for, his wife was an architecture firm. She was just starting and they needed a website. So I got 2 websites pretty quickly, put those together, and then kind of worked on a portfolio, applied to some design firms with my background and a little bit in animation, and mostly in like photography was what I was doing at that time. And I still love photography. I take photos all the time, and it's taught me probably the most about composition. That is probably the most I've learned is by doing photography over the years. So I started out at this company in Grand Rapids, Designbox, and we realized pretty quickly that I could help with some photo projects, and digital cameras had just kind of come on the scene, so we needed someone that understood how digital cameras worked in Photoshop. And so that was the first place where I really was making money in the world of art and design for what I'd gone to school for, which is fine art. And I think that many people understand that when you go to school and get a fine art degree, you might have to kind of find ways that are creative to use your degree. So I'm excited. This video I've been thinking about for a while. What is it like to be an art teacher? What's it like to be an artist and be an art teacher at the same time? What is that daily what is it like? So I like to call teaching is like a teaching gig, because every teaching job is completely different. This teaching job is K through 8 art, and it's different than any other job I've ever had. Each week I have 450 students and they come in, we do art together. Some weeks it seems like everything's perfect, everything works just the way I want it. Some weeks we are doing a little bit of artwork, a lot of kind of creative exploration. But every teaching job I ever have had has been sort of like this building of a curriculum and building in a direction. And if you like to build, teaching is a great profession, because the rewards on the sides of like how you get to interact with people, who you get to meet, the lifelong kind of impact that you can make with So the funny thing about the design job that I found over a period of time was sometimes there was a lot to do and they needed me, sometimes there wasn't much to do, and that kind of drove me crazy, being kind of locked in an office with not enough work to do. I always got creative projects going and was trying out different things and learning new software. But before I got that job, I'd done some substitute teaching, and that was one of those things I just couldn't stop thinking about how much I enjoyed that. I taught a class of kindergarten students, which I talked about before on this channel, and it was just really, it felt right. It felt like what people talk about as far as a calling. I felt like my heart was in wanting to work with young people and on a daily basis and just watch them grow. And I had 2 young children at the time and a third on the way, and it just seemed like something that was the right direction. So I went back to school, got my graduate teaching degree, most of the way towards a master's in elementary education, and ended up teaching high school art at my old high school. So I was teaching high school art at my old high school, which I was only maybe 24, 25, so like 6 or 7 years out of high school. So a lot of the same old teachers that I'd known in high school taught with some of the art teachers that I'd had in high school. So that was an amazing, strange experience, and just made me feel like I kind of was starting to grow up and enter the real world. Working with high school students, even though they were close in age with me, it was a good time for me to work with them because we were young enough that we had shared interests, yet I was old enough and with children and kind of had a distance away from them. So I wasn't just fresh out of undergraduate. I was a little bit older, had done a little bit of design industry stuff that I could share with them. We did animation, we did video, and this was in the early 2000s. So the computers we were using were crashing all the time. The video programs we were using barely worked, but it was a great experience on the beginnings of working with students, and it was really what I wanted to do. Unfortunately, that job got cut after that year, a second grade teacher. And then I found my way into fifth grade, and I eventually taught Montessori for a long time. Montessori education is the closest thing to some sort of art, creative education for young kids. I recommend it to any young parents or parents of young children, that it is a great way for kids to learn. So that is my strange journey into the world of art, design, education. I think I'll get better over time at explaining exactly how that all came to be, but that's kind of a general sense of where I'm at now. How do I make a living? Where do I have art and design projects that I'm still doing? Where have I done art and design projects over the years? I'm happy and lucky to have had lots of experiences in art and design, worked for lots of clients, worked a lot of individual projects, and I've been able to do my own thing because of teaching for a long time, being able to work on my own photography and design and illustration. So that's really helped me over the years. So that is a very long form answer to how did you end up here? But that's how I ended up here. So this is DesignBox. This project was a mural that I was in charge of. So this is at Ford in California in Palo Alto. And I just was in charge of coming up with the concept, and I kind of got to see it from the beginning to the end. And it was one of the most proud and thankful experiences I've ever had in art and design. And it just looked amazing. And I was just really appreciate the people at DesignBox, especially Mike Smith and Dale Christofferson. And just the whole staff there was amazing to me when I first got hired, and then working there again after 10 years or so was a great experience.